Hey, sweeties. So I've been thinking, you know that feeling when you watch something so beautiful, so heartwarming, that you just want to hug your pillow and squeal? That's exactly what I want to talk about today. BL series that will make you fall head over heels in love. Like, I'm not even kidding. These stories are so good, they'll have you smiling like a total dork one minute and clutching your chest the next, because the feels are just that real. I promise, by the end of this, you'll either be adding these to your watch list or rewatching them for the millionth time like I do. Let's gush about these gems together. Number 5, The Last Twilight. All right, let me just say this. The Last Twilight is the kind of series that doesn't just tell you a story, it makes you feel it. You know how some shows are all fluff and surface level romance? This one, it's deep. It grabs your heart in the first few episodes and doesn't let go. It's about Morak, this guy who's struggling with debt and basically has no clear direction in life, and Day, a former badminton star who's losing his sight. Day's dealing with so much pain and anger because his life has completely turned upside down, and you can feel his frustration in every scene. But then, Morak comes into his life, not as a savior, but as this grounding force. Morak doesn't treat him like he's fragile or broken, and that's where the magic starts. The chemistry, oh my god, Jimmy and C are insane together. Every single interaction between them feels so natural, so raw, like they're not just acting. They are Mork and Day, and as their bond grows, you can't help but get invested. You'll be rooting for them, crying with them, and probably yelling at the screen because it's just so good. But it's not just about romance. This show hits some really heavy themes. Grief, disability, self-worth, and it handles them beautifully. It's honest without being overly dramatic, and it respects the struggles these characters are going through. There's this underlying message of hope, like even when life seems impossible, there's still love and connection waiting for you. By the end of it, I was a wreck, in the best way possible. The Last Twilight is the kind of series that stays with you. It's not just a BL show, it's a story about what it means to truly see and be seen, even in your darkest moments. If you haven't watched it yet, you're seriously missing out. Number 4, I Feel You Linger in the Air. Oh, sweeties, let me tell you, this series is not just a show. It's a whole feeling. From the very first episode, I was hooked. Like, imagine falling in love while being completely out of place, literally stuck in a different time. That's exactly what Jem goes through, and honestly, it makes your heart ache and flutter all at once. The way Jom and Kunyai's story unfolds, it's so soft but also intense. Non-cool as Jom just draws you in. You feel everything he feels. The confusion, the longing, the love. And bright as Kunyai, oh my gosh, he's the definition of gentlemanly perfection. The way he looks at Jom, like he's seeing the stars in him, had me melting. I'm not even kidding. I paused just to scream into my pillow because it was too much to handle. And the setting. The 1920s vibe is so dreamy and nostalgic, it makes their love feel even more special, like this delicate thing that's fighting against all odds. The cinematography, stunning. Every shot feels like it belongs in a museum. But what really got me is how the series doesn't just focus on romance. It talks about identity, courage, and what it means to love someone when the world says you can't. It's heartbreaking at times, but that's what makes it so beautiful. It's a love story that lingers, just like the title says. Honestly, if you haven't watched it, go do yourself a favor. But prepare yourself, you'll cry, you'll smile, and you'll fall in love right along with Jom and Kunyai. This series just wraps itself around your heart and refuses to let go. Number 3, The Only One. At first, you might think The Only One is just another typical story about stepbrothers falling in love, but trust me, it's so much more. It's a heartfelt story about growing up, feeling lonely, finding love, and dealing with pain. It's raw and emotional, and it doesn't shy away from the hard stuff. If you're expecting the usual BL storyline, this one will catch you off guard. It sticks with you, and yeah, don't be surprised if you end up crying like I did. Jiang Tian is such a complicated character. He's got so much going on beneath the surface, and it's like he's scared to let anyone in. He hides his pain and his past like it's something he should be ashamed of, and that just broke my heart. Then there's Sheng Wang, who doesn't push Tian to open up all at once. He's gentle, just being there and slowly showing Tian it's okay to let someone care about him. I really loved how Wang wasn't overbearing. He was just there when Tian needed him the most. Now, the fact that their parents get married and they're forced to live under one roof, awkward, they're suddenly stepbrothers, but let's be real, they don't act like brothers at all. From the beginning, there's this tension between them. Not the bad kind of tension, but definitely not the brotherly kind either. It's like they're trying to figure each other out while pretending nothing's going on. But let me tell you, you can feel something brewing even if they won't admit it. And yes, it's a slow burn. I know some people hate that, but honestly, I loved it. The little moments are what make it so good. The quick glances, the accidental touches, the way they look at each other when they think no one's watching. It's those tiny things that make your heart flutter. Like when their hands brushed for the first time, I literally screamed. It's the kind of show that makes you sit there grinning like an idiot over the smallest details. But it's not just about their love story. It's also about healing. Sheng Wang helps Tian face his pain just by being there, letting him know it's okay to let someone in. And Tian shows Wang that love isn't always easy, but it's worth it. Their bond isn't rushed or forced. It feels real, like you're watching two people slowly find their way to each other. The actors, oh my God, they're so good. Every look, every touch feels real. You can see the sadness, the longing, the hope in their eyes. Nothing feels fake or overdone. They completely pull you into the story, and before you know it, you're rooting for them with your whole heart. The ending, though? It's bittersweet. Some things were left unresolved, which was a little frustrating, but it's clear they're setting things up for a second season, and honestly, I'm okay with that. It felt like Sheng Wang finally understood that he and Tian aren't just brothers, they're something more. If there's a season 2, fingers crossed, I can't wait to see how their relationship grows. So if you're into slow, emotional, character-driven love stories, this one's for you. It's not perfect, but it'll leave you feeling all kinds of emotions. Just be ready to cry, smile, and fall in love with these two. I can't recommend it enough. Number 2, Tame Po, the series. The series is the kind of BL that just makes you feel things. Like 6 episodes in and I'm already obsessed. The story pulls you in without rushing, and somehow it makes every little moment hit so hard. Honestly, I didn't expect much when I started it, but now I can't stop thinking about it. First off, Poe's character is such a breath of fresh air. He's not the usual clueless or over-the-top stereotype you sometimes see. He's smart, aware, and just so real. And the chemistry between Tame and Poe, wow. It's the kind of connection that feels so genuine. None of that one must be the soft one and the other must be the tough one nonsense. They just complement each other perfectly. The story itself is deeper than I expected. It shows the hard reality of being an idol, the sacrifices, the misunderstandings, and the struggles we don't usually see. And don't even get me started on the side characters. They add so much without taking away from the main couple. And the music, I'm obsessed. The OST is perfect, and William's voice is everything. It adds so much emotion to the show, and you can tell he and S put their whole hearts into these roles. By the way, this is Est's first lead role, and he's killing it. You feel every emotion he's going through, and it just makes you root for him even more. If you're like me and love a BL that's emotional, real, and beautifully made, Tame Po will completely win you over. It's one of those shows that sneaks up on you and stays with you long after you finish an episode. And finally, number 1, See Your Love. The best BL that will have you falling head over heels. Sweeties, this series is hands down one of the best BL series of 2024. Okay, I went into See Your Love not really knowing what to expect, but wow, it completely swept me off my feet. If you're looking for something that'll make you laugh, cry, and fall in love with love all over again, this is the series for you. It's got everything. Hilarious moments, heartfelt scenes, and representation that doesn't feel forced. So we've got Jiang Xiaopeng, who's deaf, and Yang Suxiang, this spoiled rich kid who comes in like he owns the world. At first I was like, oh great, another classic opposites attract BL, but no. This series, it took that idea and just made it so much better. Xiaopeng is one of those characters who stays with you. He's strong but still vulnerable, and you can't help but root for him. And Xuxiang, at first I wanted to shake him because he was so full of himself, but then he started growing as a person and I was like, okay, I see you. Their chemistry though, whoo, it's not the in-your-face kind, but the way their relationship builds, it feels so natural. Like when Zixiang started noticing all these little things about Xiaopeng, I was literally grinning at my screen like an idiot. And Xiaopeng, you can just see how much he wants to let Zixiang in, but is scared because, let's be real, life hasn't been kind to him. One thing I really loved was how they handled Xiaopeng being deaf. It wasn't like, oh, poor him. It was more like, this is who he is and he's amazing. And the sign language moments, so sweet. It wasn't just about communication, it was about connection, and that hit hard. Of course, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. There's this whole assassin subplot, don't ask me why, it's random, but somehow it works, and a few moments where the drama felt a bit extra. But you know what? I didn't care. By the time we got to the last episodes, I was too invested in Xiaopeng and Xixiang to even think about it. And the families? Let's just say Zixiang's dad made me cry like a baby, and Xiaopeng's parents are the kind of wholesome we need more of in BLs. Honestly, this series isn't perfect, but it's got so much heart. If you're into emotional stories that feel real but still give you all the feels, See Your Love is 100% worth it. You'll laugh, cry, and probably rewatch the cute moments like 5 times. Trust me, it's that good. And there you have it, sweeties. 5 BL series that will absolutely steal your heart and leave you falling in love over and over again. Each of these stories has something special, something that stays with you long after the credits roll. So whether you're new to BL or a longtime fan, I hope these picks bring a little extra love and joy to your watch list. Until next time, keep spreading the love.